Hello, and welcome to an important Salem Witch Hunt Daily Report for June 2nd, 2024, the 332nd anniversary of the start of the trial phase of the Salem Witch Hunt. I'm Josh Hutchinson. On June 2nd, 1692, Thomas Newton was sworn in as Attorney General, and Stephen Sewell was sworn in as Clerk of the Court of Oyer and Terminer, which held its first session in Salem's townhouse. Lydia Wilkins and Samuel Fuller's ghost supposedly visited Ann Putnam Sr. and accused John Willard of murdering them. And John Willard himself supposedly showed up as a specter to brag about how many people he and William Hobbs had murdered. Ann allegedly received another visitation from the ghost of Joseph Fuller, who told her that he'd been murdered by Martha Cory. Specters also reportedly visited Johanna Childen, including Sarah Good and her infant daughter who had died in prison. Somehow the little baby spoke and told her host that mommy had killed her. Rebecca Nurse's specter also showed up, as did the ghost of Goodman Harwood, who blamed Goodwife Nurse for his demise. Peter Tufts complained about Elizabeth Fosdick and Elizabeth Payne, and magistrates John Hathorne and Jonathan Corwin issued warrants for the arrests of the two women. A jury of women searched Rebecca Nurse, Sarah Good, Alice Parker, Susanna Martin, Bridget Bishop, and Elizabeth Proctor, trying to find unnatural marks that could be the teats with which witches fed familiars. Parker, Martin, and Good were clean, but Nurse, Proctor, and Bishop each had an excrescence of flesh in their secret parts. A male jury examined the bodies of John Proctor and John Willard, finding nothing out of the ordinary. Bridget Bishop was the first person accused of witchcraft to face the grand jury in the Salem witch trials. She was indicted on 5 accounts for supposedly afflicting Elizabeth Hubbard, Abigail Williams, Mary Walcott, Ann Putnam Jr., and Mercy Lewis. However, much of the evidence presented had to do with earlier incidents. John Cook and John Louder testified against Bridget Bishop. Rebecca Blythe, John Blythe Sr., Susanna Sheldon, Sarah Shattuck, and Samuel Shattuck also deposed against Bridget Bishop, and Richard Comyn testified against Bridget. Like everyone else who would be tried by the Court of Oyer and Terminer in 1692, Bishop was convicted. The jury of women, with its male surgeon, re-examined the bodies of Susanna Martin, Bridget Bishop, Elizabeth Proctor, and Rebecca Nurse. But this time, no marks or teats were found. In 1692's other New England witch hunt, the water test was employed in Fairfield, Connecticut. With hands and feet bound, Mercy Disborough and Elizabeth Clausen were dunked in water. Unfortunately for them, they both floated, which is what witches were believed to do. Ducking, or swimming as it was also called, was actually illegal in Connecticut, but officials allowed it because Disborough had asked for it, believing she would sink, knowing her own innocence. Back in Salem, Sarah Andrews was deposed against Elizabeth Howe. Ann Putnam Sr. was deposed against Rebecca Nurse, Sarah Cloyce, Sarah Bishop, and Elizabeth Carey. John Westgate was deposed against Alice Parker. Ann Putnam Sr. testified against John Willard, William Hobbs, and Martha Cory. And Henry Wilkins Sr. was deposed against John Willard. That's today's Salem Witch Hunt Daily Report. But stay tuned later this evening for additional videos elaborating on some of the key events of this first day of trials in the Salem Witch Hunt. Thank you. Have a great today and a beautiful tomorrow.